Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Smash JT. By now, most of you are familiar with how EA has shut down the microtransactions from the initial launch of Star Wars Battlefront 2. But what if I told you that by doing so, they accidentally stumbled upon the future of how microtransactions will be handled in the AAA industry? JT. Leading up to the official launch of Star Wars Battlefront 2 has been nothing short of a disaster. When EA announced at E3 that they were scrapping the Season Pass model for Battlefront 2, the move was met warmly by players initially, because previously having a Season Pass in video games meant it would split the player base into people who would purchase the DLC and people who wouldn't, preventing a lot of them from enjoying new maps and game modes altogether. At that time, the understanding was that EA would introduce a system for unlocking the content within the game, where the progress would either be earned from gameplay or purchased through microtransactions. And initially, people were fine with that.
All post-launch heroes, maps, weapons, and vehicles will be free for everyone who owns Star Wars Battlefront 2. Yes.
But as the company revealed exactly how the system was going to be implemented, details about how long it would actually take to unlock the things without paying got people very pissed off. And if you had to pay for things, they were saying reports that it would cost upwards of $2,200 of cash. My assertion is, with microtransactions being removed from the actual launch of the game, until everything's figured out and they iron out all the issues with the actual in-game currency and how the microtransactions will balance the multiplayer aspect of the game, until a further date down the road when that's all figured out, it actually laid the groundwork for how microtransactions may be handled in the AAA industry going forward, and I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing. The benefits for players is clear. By not having microtransactions at launch, publishers know that they'll have to provide an experience that is fun and engaging for non-payers, and it ensures that in-game systems won't be designed around a monetary system, forcing people to pay real-world money for items in-game. Based off of early reports with Star Wars Battlefront 2 and how EA and DICE had been handling the microtransactions and hiding essential playable characters behind paywalls or unnecessary grinding for Luke Skywalker or Darth Vader was absolutely insane. But by creating a game that's microtransaction free around the first 3 to 6 months of the actual release, it forces the developer to make a game the way they should have made it in the first place. And while many people might be hearing this and saying, yeah, that sounds pretty obvious, that's exactly how they should be handling games from the get-go, I feel like this was a wake-up call for the entire AAA game industry. And other publishers such as Warner Bros. Interactive and Take-Two Entertainment are watching this and seeing how it unfolds because it impacts how they're handling their own games themselves. And publishers who are willing to adopt this grace period before implementing microtransactions in full-fledged AAA games will be mitigating some of the serious side effects from actually having microtransactions in their game in the first place. And for those of you who have watched my previous videos know how I feel about microtransactions. However, I do understand that they are a necessary evil when making money for these gigantic AAA publishers because they have shareholders that want to make more and more money. By offering microtransactions, just not at launch, it ensures that the game is full-fledged and playable, and it gives the early adopters the full game without the side effects of the negative microtransactions infesting everything that they try to do with the game. Heck, even a lot of the things that they would be charging microtransactions for could be free for early adopters, which would give them a reason to pay the full price for the game up front. And down the road, if the game has legs for it to keep going, these things could be turned into things they could charge like $1.99 for a weapon skin, or, well, don't get me started on loot boxes or loot crates because I don't think those should be in games in the first place, but for actual microtransactions for a purchase where you put money into something to get a specific thing back, I'm not completely against those, especially when it doesn't change multiplayer experiences. If it's just for cosmetics, it's perfectly fine in my book. Microtransactions aren't going anywhere anytime soon, and I feel like this is a good balance between the people that can't stand microtransactions and the AAA publishers that feel like they have to have them implemented in their games. But I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this theory. Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.